It's always showtime at BetMGM Sports. You can make your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 when you sign up with the code Sherdog. Don't let another game day go by without having the ultimate sports betting app in the palm of your hand. Discover non-stop excitement with BetMGM's state-of-the-art technology and dozens of betting options, including live wagers, props, parlays, and much more. No matter what your favourite sport is or how you like to wager, find out why there's nothing like getting a W at the king of sportsbooks. Use the code Sherdog and make your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona, Colorado, Washington, D.C., Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire in 7 days from issuance. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, Washington, D.C., Louisiana, Nevada, Wyoming, and Virginia. Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. In Michigan, 1-800-GAMBLER. In Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Tennessee, call the Red Line at 800-889-9789. In Mississippi, call 1-888-777-9696. Sports betting is void where prohibited. Promotional offers not available in Nevada. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. And I'm delighted today to be joined by the former Cage Warriors middleweight champion, James Webb, as he prepares for his main event fight with Leon Aliu this weekend at Cage Warriors 138. James, no UFC this weekend, so this is arguably the biggest fight of the weekend in the world of mixed martial arts. Have you even thought about that, honestly? And are you looking forward to this weekend? Been a while since you had a fight.
Jesus. I didn't even... I didn't know that was actually the case at all. So no, that's just made me feel absolutely amazing. That has.
Very good.
So,
good way to start it off.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm very ready for that. Yeah, I'm very excited for that now. Brilliant. Superb.
Do you know, obviously you've been injured since the last time we saw you back at the start of last year. How was I suppose the recovery from the injury been, and kind of where, I know we were just talking before and you said you'd had a long camp over in Ireland, so obviously you're back to full health.
Yeah.
But how tough was it getting back to that, to 100% after that injury?
I mean, the truth is, when we talk about the injury, the injuries I sustained, probably in 2018-19 was the start of it. Some of those injuries, I suffered with like some neck and back issues, which I didn't ever correct because I never thought anything. I just didn't think it was that bad. And then what happens when it's not that bad is it just keeps building, and each fight camp takes a bit more out of you. And then before you know it, you just can't move anymore. So I literally got to a point where I sort of said after the last fight, I was like, I'm not doing it anymore where I'm hurt. I'm not doing it anymore if I'm not there. It needs to be about me. I can't just keep fighting because I want to fight, because you make yourself, I feel like I embarrassed myself, and it wasn't me. It was a shell of me, but it was also, like there's no excuses. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no excuses. I don't even want to talk about it. There's no excuses there, but I am injury free. I spent a long time, sort of actually like pre-pandemic. I spent, the first lockdown, so to say. I spent a lot of that time powerlifting, and I got some size, and I fought Craig White. I felt great, and then just a few things externally happened. Nothing to do with the sport I'm in. It was just life. Life happened. Family, business, just life's issues, you know, and fighting for me was the outlet. And obviously fighting's a huge stress on the body. And when you're dealing with external stresses, I just didn't see what that was doing to me as well. And that's when I made the decision, like, I need to get myself healthy, ready, and give myself the best opportunity. So I actually was ready to fight end of last year, end of 2021. And I got myself I went over to Ireland in September, and we were looking to get into a camp then, because I got myself fit. I was ready to go. And I blew my knee and I had to go and have then surgery. So I had surgery in October. We got that done pretty quick. Obviously we have the main surgeon in the gym, you know, so he was pretty good. He looked after me, and he got me seen very quickly. And then I rehabbed it for the rest of that year. And then in January, end of January, I was back in Ireland, and we took it slow and we built it up. And I did 16 weeks there, and the first probably 4 to 6 were like easy enough, getting back into it, like rehabbing with the ISI, getting the knee strong. And then it's just been 10 weeks of let's go. And there's things that I've cut out of my life, Sean. I cut my own work. I used to PT all the time, so that was how I used to get back and forward from Ireland, PTing. And I just cut it all because it's just a stress I don't need. So it's been harder financially, but life as a fighter is hard, you know. So I've sucked it up. Been living off a credit card, which I'm happy to do because I believe it will pay off, you know, and I feel great, you know, like I'm not stressed by money. I'm not stressed by having clients on my case. I'm not stressed by business anymore or work. I'm being selfish. I'm focusing just on me. And it's been great.
I suppose, you know, a lot of people talk about if you go the Cage Warriors route, maybe it's not the most fruitful in terms of pay, but it's a route that will take you to the UFC. But a lot of people, when they talk about that, they talk about, you know, we get to the title, we get a couple of defenses, and then we go to the UFC. Obviously, you've been to the title. You've had, obviously, the setback with Matthias Frederick. You were building your way back up. You had the setback, obviously, against Matt Bonner. And then you had, obviously, the 2 injury setbacks as well. How tough must that have been mentally for you over the last, you know, how long is it? 2 years now, that sort of period?
It's been really tough because you start to question everything. Obviously, I set a gym up, and then you're like, should I have even set a gym up? You know, should I have even done that? It's been really tough, really challenging. Like, but do you know what? I've got a good circle around me right now. More than anything, I've just got this solid group of like good advice, and people that are older. People that are younger, my partner, my mum, my dad, my parents. I take advice from a lot of people that I respect, and I'm just in a good place, you know. And when you get sound advice, you make better decisions. And you know, like someone said to, when I said I was going to stop working, I was expecting people to be like, "Well, how are you going to live?" And one of the guys just turned around to me and he said, "Great idea, because if you have to speculate to accumulate. Stop working now, and in the future this might pay back on itself, or you can work your ass off right now in the camp and it just doesn't work for you because you're just burning out at both ends, you know." So yeah, I'm in a really good spot, Sean. Good people around me, good place, great place mentally though. Mentally, best place I've ever been, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
How hard is it just to take that decision to make that climb? You know, everyone in MMA, myself included, has to take that climb at some stage to go all out and go for it. And what is the goal? What is the aim? Obviously, you know, Team KF talk all the time. It's UFC for all the fighters coming through. Is that for you? But what's the timeline for that? And, you know, let's say it goes perfectly for you. Where do you end up and when?
The idea is 2 fights. And go. That's the aim at the moment. I'm pretty like Cole had he did. Like pretty much there was a contract after the last fight, near enough, which I lost. And then it's just it's a case of rebuilding. So Chris just said to me, "You're two fights away. You're 2 fights away." So I'm hoping like two nice finishes, even a fucking big finish this weekend. You know, puts me back up there. You know, like I haven't taken easy fights. You know, if you look at the record, they're tough fights. You know, like there's guys in the UFC that haven't fought guys as good as I've fought. You know, so it's not like I don't deserve. Not like I feel like I don't deserve to be there. I do believe there's a bit of luck, and just because I feel like mentally right now everything's sort of coming together. I've been saying to Chris, like my mind and body have finally caught up. Like I've been doing things in the gym that I couldn't do before because I just couldn't put them together. But I feel like I've matured. Obviously, I'm a father now, so I feel like I've actually become a man. So yeah, I just feel like a different fighter, and I just feel like this is probably my time. Like I've been not in MMA a long time, but I've been in combat sports a while now. You know, with grappling and some kickboxing, and that's what I've done like throughout all my 20s. And I just sort of see this now as like the second part of my season, and this second part of my season is where I feel like everything's primed to get there, and everything's ready to be there and to go and to give it a great shot, because like my trainer's been phenomenal. Like I'm a black belt in fucking jiu-jitsu, you know, I'm a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm a former world champion. Like it's not like just an anybody getting signed at some point. You know, I do feel if I can get a couple of solid wins, I do deserve a shot. I mean, the losses I've had are against fucking Cage Warriors champions. And if I'm honest, I've never seen me in a fight being ragdolled, dragged to the mat, taken my back or anything like that. You know, like that doesn't really seem to happen. You know, so I do think I've got a very dangerous skill set. You know, which is a nightmare for a lot of people.
How important is it, you know, you mentioned obviously Chris Fields and Kyle Binder there over in Team KF in Dublin. Like, you know, you said they've got into debt basically to go and train with those guys and to keep on with that gym. How good is the training there? How important is it for you to be back in that gym as much as you can?
It was massively important. Like, I didn't know the May show was going ahead. So when we heard we were fighting in Belfast, that was sort of beginning of April. Chris sort of said to me then, he's like, listen, you can take a month off home if you want, get some money. And I was just like, nah, I'll be here next week, because that's what I need to do, you know. It's not just, the level of training is great and the coaching's fantastic, and the S&C I've got there, the whole team I've got is fantastic. But for me, it's not just that. For me, it's the sacrifice, it's the leaving your family. Like I'm leaving my partner to run a business and look after a kid by herself, and in the hope that my dream pays off for us, you know. So that's what I was doing. It does sound really selfish, but I'm doing that because I'm trying to bring better to our lives, you know. So that was the process. I was just like, no, and I am a stubborn person as well. So I'm like, if I tell myself I'm doing it, I'm just going to do it. And that was what I did. I told myself, I'm going to be here until Belfast, and then the culture thing come up, and I was like, okay, cool, let's do that then. Let's do it. And it couldn't have worked out any more perfect, Sean. Like I was saying when I got to Ireland, I'd love to fight in May because I know that my knee will be good. I'll be great in May. Do you know what I mean? And it feels like it's written in the stars, you know. Like here we are again. Cage Warriors have come to Colchester, and I get to main event it again. It was pretty special main event it first time around. I didn't realise that was coming until a few days before, and obviously I found out from Chris when he said about the show that you'll be main event, and like I said, when I already put it out there that I wanted to fight in May, I got it. Cage Warriors come here. I got the main event spot. It just feels like it was all there for me, you know. This time it's all there for me, and I have to now take that. I can't, like, it's all well and good saying how different I feel, and my training has been very different. If I look at the consistency in my training, Saturday should show that. But obviously, training doesn't win fights, you know. So all I have to do now is take everything.
We're talking about Team KF, and if I didn't ask people to probably be given out to me, you know, yourself and Ian Gary on the way up, it seemed like it was the two of you, you know, representing the team, being the two top guys, obviously Omran and all the lads coming up on the way. What has your kind of reaction to being to that? Do you still keep in contact with Ian, or is it, you know, is there just a big fall now with everyone? What was your reaction to it? Obviously he well, you know, himself and the team split and he's over in America now.
I think it was a bit upsetting for everyone at first, you know. It was. Like, for me at the moment, I wish him the best. I think do you know what? I don't know if I've turned into some like hippie or something, but I'm just all about this. I don't want none of this negative energy around me. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to again, because I've been through negative shit, the whole injuries and this and this and this, and it just drives you down. So I wish him the best. We haven't spoken much. We spoke a little bit. He actually messaged me just before Christmas. He was asking about the baby. But we got along, you know, but we don't really chat anymore. But we're on two different time zones, you know. But the same as any other fighter sort of on their journey, I just wish him the best, you know. I don't have anything ill to say about him or anything like that. But I think for the team, it was a bit of a shock and it was a bit upsetting. But I think everyone just sort of handled it well. Tried to just try to not let it come above the team, you know. And that's what I think they tried to do. They just tried to say nothing is above the team, you know, sort of thing. And that's sort of how Chris, Tom, they wanted it all to be, and that's really what it was, you know. But you know, it was a bit of a shock. Obviously, I wasn't around at the time at all. I was home. But yeah, it was a shock. But hey, no, I don't think there's any hard feelings anymore. I think it's just sort of under the bridge. Everyone's getting on with things and just looking to do what we can all do.
You spoke about your improvements there a second ago, and it's a question I wanted to ask you for a long time about judging, because some of your fights obviously were a bit contentious in terms of judging, with, like, you know, we hear the debate all the time, Top Control versus, you know, all of this. And I know, you know, Chris has talked to judges and your team as well. Is that something you've really looked at, to kind of adjust your style to fight more towards the judging criteria, to win rounds and to win fights? No, it isn't.
No, Sean, I ain't fighting for the judges anymore. I'm fighting to finish. That is it.
That's the way.
That's all I've been doing in my training. And actually, that's how I started off. Up until I won the title, all of my career was that way. Finish. And that's what I'm going to go back to. Like, I don't want to leave it to the judges. I do understand the judges' criteria. I do understand it's all about the damage that's scored. It doesn't matter where the fight is. It is about the damage. I do get that. But I'm just looking to finish. That is what I will be doing. And that is all I'm looking to do. And like, I know sometimes it might look like I'm waiting in a position, but I'm only waiting because I need them to do something so I can get to the next point. I'm not waiting. Like, I am not happy to just be sitting there doing nothing. Believe that. I don't want to sit there and hold on to someone. Like, I am looking to finish. That is all I'm wanting to do, you know. And I've been getting some pretty, you know, the training, the sparring's been going very well. And you know, like, I spent, obviously, because I was home a lot, I spent a lot of time grappling again. That was something that I started with, a long time ago. So I was back with a lot of my old teammates, and I've probably got one of the best black belts in the UK at the moment, who I train with every day, and so me and him have just been going at it for the last few years, and that's just had massive impacts on my MMA game, because we've almost been doing stuff that isn't jiu-jitsu. We call it crackhead jiu-jitsu because it's just crazy, like Tony Ferguson stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's what's happening, and I'm pulling that shit off, and there's a few things, and there's a couple of techniques I don't want to show because they're not necessarily me being in great positions. I don't expect to be on my back at all, but if I do, I've got some really dirty submissions, and that's that. I feel good everywhere. It's not going to the judges. That's it.
Watching the Bonner fight, we'll forget about the end for a second, but I analyse fights every week. We often talk about, people who look to get the fight to ground. As you just said, you've loads of submissions and things like that. And they give up on their wrestling. They go for 2 or 3 takedowns, give up on it. In that fight, you didn't give up on the wrestling for 1 second of the fight, and you ended up getting takedowns in it. Is that something you look back on? And like, my big question I want to ask you about like tactics about that. Like, what point do you reach where you do give up on the wrestling, and what point do you reach where you'd say you have to keep going for it? Is it just a thing? The game plan is to wrestle, and never stop. Like where I don't know. Maybe that question I've been asking it badly, but where's like the midpoint between wrestling and giving up on wrestling?
No, I get that completely. So I said a bit earlier. I said like my mind and my body sort of finally caught up with each other. So I feel like for a long time, probably since my beginning of my MMA career, I believe I was doing what I thought I was doing, but it wasn't. It was just a bit one-dimensional. And, Saturday, I better show that I'm not, but I feel like I've finally been able to put everything together so that my entries this time, I haven't struggled to get any takedowns. I haven't struggled to land shots, and that was the difference. Sometimes I wouldn't be threatening the shots, and then I'd look for the takedown, easy defense, and then maybe I'd look for a crap shot, a little level change, and then they'd know the hands are coming, where this time there's just more rhythm. I feel more fluid. I just think personally it's just a bit more maturity, and fight IQ. Like you just see. I've just seen it a bit differently, and I'm taking my time away from the sport a bit and working on different aspects. It's really helped. It's really helped improve me, and it's really helped improve me as a fighter as well. So I was guilty of sometimes hell bent on looking for the takedowns, and do you know what? Most of the time it did work. You'd get it, and that's because I'd just be so tenacious on it, and I'd drive into it. But then that's where half the neck and back injuries come from as well, So, but then obviously sometimes I didn't know when to let go as well. So, like I'd be then holding on to a leg, and I should have let go fucking 20 seconds ago, thrown a shot and gone back in. But again, it's just that fight IQ, not knowing when to let it go, when to go, when to not let it go, when to throw shots, when to level change. And yeah, like for me right now, I feel like it's all just come full circle, and I'm sort of getting to like the fighter I should be, I'm pretty happy for it.
Does that come by going back and watching your own fights, or maybe watching other people's fights and see? Like I was going to say, as a listener to your corner, but you couldn't not listen to your corner with Chris Fields, the world's loudest man in your corner. Everyone has to listen to him. But is that how you kind of improve on fight IQ, by watching the fight IQ maybe of others and implementing that in your game?
Yeah, like I watched back a lot of like my fights, and like. I watch them back now, and I'm like, fuck, that's bad. And the fights I'm winning, I'm like, should have done that there, should have done this. I was watching a lot of Jan Blachowicz. He's obviously a division above, but very similar sort of style. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the version that I feel like I'm putting together now is a very similar style for him now. You know. So I've been watching a lot of him. I was watching a lot of Dustin Poirier as well. Like I just, because like me and Chris, and like a few of the pad men I have, we've been working a lot as a southpaw. Obviously Poirier is a southpaw, but steps in as he hurts people as a southpaw. He steps into the orthodox side because I believe his right hand's his strongest. You know, so he'll hurt you with the jab, and then when he's got you hurt, he then steps in with the right hand. Well, goes orthodox into the right hand. So there's just been different styles I've been watching that I'm trying to like complement my game with where I can, you know. And the Jan one's a great one, and so is the Poirier one, just with like the switching up of the style, throwing the big heavy jab, you know, like a Usman sort of thing, popping a big heavy like right hand down the pipe, you know. And they seem to be working, but the test will come on Saturday, you know. That's where I get to like show everything that I feel like I've done, you know. I get to show where I've improved, and that's what I'm excited about, because I don't like I feel very different. I feel mentally in a completely different place to last year, the year before that. But then sometimes I just don't want to jinx that, you know. I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want to say, watch it. I'm going to do it on Saturday. I will do it.
And your opponent on Saturday, Leon Aliu, I went back and I watched what I could of him. There wasn't much tape on him, but he seems like a very good athlete, very strong. His unbelievable guillotine from the couple of fights I saw. What did you go back and watch him? Is that a thing you do, or do you leave it to Chris? And what do you think? What is kind of the plan for him, I suppose?
I just leave it to Chris. We have a look, and we brought in training partners that like suited that style, you know. So I brought in people that would try and take me down. Brought in training partners that wouldn't take me down. We brought in all different types, and I felt great. Like I just feel right now very complete, and I feel like he'll have to be like on his best game to beat me. Do you know what I mean? He'll have to have everything to beat me, because I feel fantastic. That's how I feel, you know, and in my skill set right now, fantastic.
James, I appreciate the time. Thanks very much. I'm really looking forward to the fight this weekend. You know, I'm calling it the biggest fight of the weekend anyway. Maybe there's a KSW fight on as well. Maybe some people will say that, but it's this for me, the biggest fight of the weekend. UFC Fight Pass Saturday night. James Webb, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, mate. Thank you for having me. Cheers.